Hi, and welcome back to this week's Parsha Shir on Sefer Tal Chermon. Rav Aviner notes in this week's Parsha that as the Jewish people leave Egypt, they're really born into nationhood. And from the moment of birth, they experience many challenges. They experience external challenges and internal challenges. In our Parsha alone, they experience the external challenge of being caught by the Egyptian army, of Paro changing his mind and coming to chase after the Jewish people, being caught between the Egyptian army and the sea. They face internal challenges of complaints about the food, complaints about why God took them out of Egypt, and so on and so forth. Aval im kol zeh, he says, but despite all of the challenges they face right off the bat, right after their birth into nationhood, betoch ha'ba'ayot, in the midst of all of these problems, mitnotzetzet hitromemut ha'anakit shel ha'am. They're all of a sudden experience the greatest high, perhaps the greatest high, of all of Jewish history. Vayirdof achrei b'nei Yisrael, u'bnei Yisrael yotzim biyad rama. We're described as, despite being chased, despite our problems, us going out biyad rama, with a strong hand. And it's exactly at that moment that we experience, as I just said, perhaps the greatest high that the Jewish people ever experienced, the greatest moment of revelation the Jewish people ever experienced, and that is Kriyas Yamsuf. And that's what Rav Aviner addresses himself to in the essay on this week's Parsha. He says, Az ba hashah hagadolah. Exactly at that moment, in the midst of all the problems and all of the complaints and all of the challenges, comes this great moment, hashah hagadolah, our big moment. Gedolah mikol makot Mitzrayim, bigger than all of the Egyptian plagues. Gam mibchinat mapalat hamitzrim v'gam mibchinat aliyat Yisrael. It's greater than the plagues, both in terms of the downfall of the Egyptians and the rise of the Jewish people. Kriyat Yamsuf, splitting of the sea. Vayar Yisrael tayat hagdolah asher asa Hashem mitzrayim. Vayiru ham et Hashem. Vayaminu b'Hashem u'Moshe avdo. We see the miracles. We fear God, and we develop faith in God. Vayaminu b'Hashem u'Moshe avdo. And all of that gives rise to as Yashir Moshe Bnei Yisrael, to a great shira, to a great song. Kulam sharim, everyone is singing. Yeshna dea Moshe kore pasuk vehem kore machrav. Yeshna dea Moshe omer kol ashir vehem onim et apizmon ashir el Hashem ki goga susroch baram abayam. Everyone debates how the song exactly occurred. Was Moshe feeding them every word and then repeating it, or was Moshe singing the whole shira and they were singing the chorus ashir el Hashem? Mikomakom, whatever the case might be. Kol Am Yisrael mitromem lemadrigat shira nevu'it. The entirety of the nation, in this great moment, rose to this prophetic song. Rata shifchal hayam mashalora Yechezkel ben Buzi hakohen. The Mechilta tells us in Parshat Beshalach that even the simplest maidservant on the sea had a greater prophecy than even Yechezkel Hanavi, the Meiser Makav, and all the great prophecies that he had. Ha'adam ha'pachut beyoter b'Yisrael mitalem l'madriga ila'it l'ri'iyah l'pkishayim hashchina. Even the lowest person in Israel got raised up to the highest of level, to the level of ri'iyah, to the level of sight, as if they could see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Vayar Yisrael. They saw in that moment, they saw something great, they saw something important, they saw this encounter with the Shechina. Ra'u Oto b'Sinai nasu yesharim kishenatan lahem et haTorah. Ra'uhu nichnas la'ol moed nasu tzadikim. Ukshera'u al hayam nasu shoshanim. The Medrash Tehillim says the Jewish people experience various levels of sight, various levels of seeing, of revelation, of this epiphany that they come to in different stages of Yetzias Mitzrayim. So in Har Sinai, which you would imagine was the greatest moment of Jewish history, they received the Torah, they saw God, and because of their sight at that moment, they became Yesharim, they became straight, they became upstanding individuals. When they saw God come into the Ohel Moed, rest His Shechina amongst Israel in the Mishkan, the construction of the Mishkan, they saw a new level of sight, and they became not just Yesharim, straight people, but Tzadikim, righteous people. So they rise and rise in the levels. But the Medrash suggests that the highest level that they reach is the level they reach at Kriyas Yamsuf. In this moment, when they see God on the sea, they were made into Shoshanim, into roses. Of course, when we receive the Torah, we were Yesharim because the Torah gives us our laws. It keeps us on the straight and narrow. When we see God in our midst, we're all elevated by that. We become not just rule followers, Yesharim, but Tzadikim, raised to a higher level of righteousness, of goodness. Ulam hasi hu beriyah hayam. The climax, though, is the sight that we see at the sea. Sham nasu shoshanim. There we get our title of shoshanim, of roses. And we know that the appellation of a rose is the highest level of praise for the Jewish people. That's what we're called in Shir HaShirim. Yisrael nimshu l'shoshana. We are compared to the rose. That's our definition. That's our identity. Kishoshana ben hachochim kein rayati ben habanah. My beloved amongst all the daughters, all the women, is like a Shoshana ben HaChochim. It's like a rose in the midst of all the thorns. We're compared to a rose. Our relationship with God is compared to the relationship of a person with a rose who finds it amongst all the thorns. B'yam suf mofia pnimiut haklalit elyona shel hadvekut u'mesirut hanefesh ha'Israelit ad kedei shirat hashivcha mashalo ra'yecheskel u'shar neviim. Rav Aviner quotes from Rav Kook over here, saying that it's at the sea in specific, based on that Medrash Tehillim, which says that we reach the level of the Shoshana at the sea, the highest level, more than Yesharim, more than Tzadikim, more than the Makos, more than Har Sinai, more than the Mishkan, more than any other moment. This was our high. This was our moment. This was our grand moment. It was the moment we gained our identity as a Shoshana. We were the closest to God. We had the greatest Riyah, the greatest sight. It was because, according to Rav Kook, that on Yom Suf, Mofia Pnimiyut HaKlalit HaElyona, the most innermost true identity, innermost identity of the Jewish people was revealed at that particular moment, creating a revelation that was so special that even the simplest maidservant saw what Yecheskel couldn't see. Haskula ha'Israelit ha'le'umit nigleit b'meloah am shel nevi'im. The greatest treasury of the Jewish people, the greatest treasures of who we are, were revealed in that moment of Kriyas Yam Suf. We became a nation of prophets, prophet being the type of person who has that closeness of relationship with God. And then, Hashira Sheba Kishlav Sofi Beitramut Holechat Mitpatachat. Only then, once we reach that greatest level of revelation, greatest level of sight, of closeness to God, does the Shira start to emerge step by step. Vayar Israel, Ha'inayim Nifkachot Lirot Et Gadlut Hashem. We start by seeing the greatness of God. V'achar kach vayiru ha'am. Megi'im l'madregat yirat Hashem. We gain an awe and a reverence for who God is and what God is. And levasof, in the end of the day, vayaminu b'Hashem. Mit'alim l'madregat emunah kolelet v'az b'hasi. We gain the level of all-encompassing faith, a faith that grabs us, a faith that defines us, a faith that moves us to the climax of Az Yashir, of being able to express all of that heightened glory and Re'iyat Hashem in Shira, Az Yashir Moshe. Hashira mitromemet, he says. The Shira is reflective of the elevated status we reached at Kriyas Yam Suf, the high of all highs of all of Jewish history, major moment for us. Hashira mitromemet, me'al madrigat hasicha v'hazimra. There's something special about Shira that's even more elevated than Sicha, regular conversation, or Zimra, which is a type of song. Hasicha hi tiachasut sichlit, b'chinat intelektualit shel hadavar, hamehave meurevet chalkit shel ha'ishiyut. So Sicha, conversation, is reflective of an intellectual endeavor, an endeavor of the mind, which is only a partial expression of who we are as a human being. A little bit higher level of communication above Sicha is Zimra. It's a type of song, type of chanting. There, it's not just an intellectual endeavor. We start to mix in some of the emotional, psychological aspects of the human being into the conversation. It's more of an experiential encounter with the person when they start Zimra as opposed to Sicha. Sicha is just an intellectual endeavor. It's at a distance. There's a separation where there's lack of revelation of who you truly are. When you live to the next level of communication of Zimra, you start to mix in not just intellect but emotion. You start to reveal certain parts of yourself that are more vulnerable. You start to break down the barriers and create a certain level of closeness. Ulam, however, he says, Lemala mishtehem omedet hashira. Shira is the strongest expression of communication above Sicha and above Zimra. Shehi histaklut kolelet. Mabat mekif hakolel et kol ha'adam bechol kochotav. It's the expression of the entirety of the human being, not just one part or another part, one segment, another segment, not just intellect, not just emotion, not just psychology, not this piece of who I am, but the Shira is the total expression of the human being. It's how the entirety of your being, without having to separate it into small parts, becomes expressed and revealed to the world and shared with others. Zihui atzmi shel chayim im noseh shirato. It's the total identification of the self with the subject of the song. Gilui hapnim hamahuti hahavayati shel adam. It's the total revelation of the most internal parts, most intimate parts of the human being and the experience of that human being in the world. HaTorah kula hi atzmiyut ha'adam. The Torah in its entirety is the essence of man. Hi gilui mahuto. It is the total revelation of who you truly are, the true self. Yisrael sha'al hayam sharim kulam. All of a sudden at the sea, we all start to sing. We all start to sing because we all start to gain the total expression of who we are as a human being, try to reveal the true self. Zohi shirat chayayim. It's the song of our life. Shirat atzmam, the song of ourselves. Shirat skulat Yisrael, the shira, the expression of the true treasure, the specialness of the Jewish people in this world. What Rav Aviner is expressing over here is that at the shira of the Yam, we were able to express our true identity. That all the pieces of who we are suddenly came together into this beautiful harmony, literally a harmony of song, of the total expression of who we are as human beings. We very rarely reach those moments in life. We have moments of sicha, we have moments of zimra. We rarely have the moment of shira. What gets us to that moment of shira is the same thing that got Bnei Yisrael there at the Yam Suf, and that is the absolute apprehension of Re'iyah of Hashem and His Torah. The closer we get to Hashem and His Torah, the more we understand the totality of who we are as a human being, the more we understand the depth of our true self, the more all the parts of ourself start to come together and adhere to one greater reality, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And once you start to feel a little bit of that, Shira comes out. This beautiful song that brings all the parts of who you are together and is able to reveal that and express that and concretize that into the world. May we all be zocher, may we all have the merit of reaching those moments of Shira that come from the absolute experience of Torah and unmediated experience of Riyat Hashem, of seeing God in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.